Welcome back to Macho Movie Madness. I'm your host, Brandon. Alongside me always is Andrew and Chris.
Hello.
Hello.
And this episode today is probably going to be one of our most interesting episodes.
Maybe.
That's it. I'm out.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
This could be...
I guarantee it's probably the only one that we're all pretty well divided on.
Yeah, so divided or so different on a lot of things.
But it also has the most content to go through also.
It does. It really does. There's no telling how long this could take.
Yeah. We all got completely different views.
For the most part.
For the most part.
I think there's common ground.
Yeah, some of it is agreed upon on a lot of levels.
Yeah.
But
today we are going to be talking about James Bond and James Bond films. And it's one of my favorite all-time things ever. I know you're not as emotionally invested into James Bond as I am.
No. Well, like I was telling you earlier, I watched James Bond for about 3 weekends every year nonstop. But I'm still like I'm a huge fan, but I'm not like emotionally invested. Whenever it's one of those franchises that they change all the time, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. I'm fine with the change, and I understand it because when a franchise goes for this long, you gotta keep changing. You can't stay the same.
Yeah, it's been around for 50 years. You can't really.
Exactly.
I mean, you gotta have different people. You gotta have different styles.
Yeah,
I'm a big enough Bond fan. My wife has learned to talk to me in a Russian accent.
Nice. Is that when she was calling you master, or is that before or after the master talk?
I can't say. My kids may be listening.
Okay. Yeah, don't say that.
Now they know to stay away whenever mom's talking Russian.
When she's speaking Russian, she's either a sleeper cell or she's just happy. She's just really happy. No, but seriously, we can get right into this because there's a lot to cover, and I don't know. What do you guys want to talk about first? You want to talk about content? You want to talk about order, like Bond order? You want to talk about movie order?
I'll leave it up to you guys.
All right, so I want to start just from the very beginning. I think that'd be the easiest. Just start from the very beginning. We'll start with Dr. No and Sean Connery. He was the first Bond, the first movie Bond, anyway. And I just want to start from there. So, what was your guys' kind of reactions when you first watched these when you were kids?
Oh man, I don't know. It was the first time I watched them. I probably watched all of Connery's all at the same time, I think.
Yeah.
And because we had a box set of tapes, and they were just I just thought, man, these are so old, like they're so dated.
I know.
Really, I mean that was the very first thing I remember thinking about them.
Well, you gotta think by this time I'd already watched Brosnan's films first.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going back and
watching
them.
I don't know. I think I probably watched Moore's before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think I did. I think I watched Moore's before I watched Brosnan's.
Really?
Yeah, because my mom's a big Roger Moore
fan.
Obviously. I mean, look at him. He's gorgeous.
The gay Bond?
Yeah. I don't care.
No, I don't care either. It's just those eyes. They're just...
Yeah. I would say he's not as good looking as last one, you know what I'm saying?
Well, he's a model.
But anyway, I just remember him looking so old, and I didn't appreciate any of them except for my favorite one of his is From Russia with Love, and that was really the
Connery, yeah.
That's really the only one that I appreciated until I got older.
Yeah.
And that's a consensus around the table, From Russia with Love.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I didn't appreciate any of them, and other than that one, I did love that one. It's got awesome fight scenes.
Well, I can see the casual perspective of these movies. They are slow in places. Some of them are campy. Some of them are hard to follow.
Yeah.
If you don't like international spy kind of movies, then they're just it's not going to be your thing anyway.
Yeah.
He was a womanizer starting out anyway. He was a womanizing. Suave character that was actually very different from what the books were. I mean, the
Oh,
character in the
way
book.
different, way different.
Um,
See, I've read 3 of the books, and the books are nothing like the movies, like the
yeah.
old movies.
That's what I'm saying. Like the movies are.
They are like the new ones. They
Yeah.
are like the new ones.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like that's why most people like those. But I think the they had to go that route. in
Oh,
the
back
old
then
days,
for
you know?
sure.
Yeah.
Back then, oh yeah.
And Connery was great at it.
He was amazing at it.
There's
Yeah,
that scene in From Russia with Love, and he's touching her lips, and she's like, "Yeah, I think my mouth's too big." He's like, "No, it's just the right size for me." That is,
Yeah, for me, yeah. That's. I mean, you can't get away with some of this shit.
No.
That Connery did. I mean, you know, we make jokes that he's the rapist Bond.
Yeah.
You know, like he's
Because he was.
Yeah. Well, that was in Goldfinger is pretty. Cringy. Like he was like fighting her hard in that one, you know, which I mean you fight back pretty playfully, but I don't know, it was crazy.
Family Guy had a joke on one of them where he just keeps slapping this woman and like she keeps saying no, and he's like slapping her, and then she says yes, and he turns to the camera and he's like 62 no, or what's he say, 62 no's and a yes is still yes.
Yeah,
like that's terrible.
Oh, it's
That's
terrible.
bad.
Did she have a good Bond girl name?
I don't. She didn't have a name. It was just
I
a
think
short
it's a
thing.
Yeah, as a cutaway. That's true though. I mean, he slapped the shit out of a bunch of girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Tanya. Like that was one thing from Russia with Love. He did to Tanya a lot.
Yeah.
She would start acting weird and getting hysterical, and he just like grab her by the shoulder, just shake her, and then slap the shit out of her and calm her down. Which that was really common back then in a lot of stuff. But yeah, it was just hilarious.
That my grandpa, which he's like, I mean, he's in his 80s, so he would have lived through all this.
Mm-hmm.
But we were watching something a while back, and it was old, and there was a guy that slapped a woman to calm her down, and he's like, they didn't do that in the 30s and the 40s. Like nobody just walked around slapping hysterical people. Like that's stupid.
Yeah, get a grip on yourself.
You know, like they weren't much different. I mean, they were a lot different, but you know,
well,
it wasn't like if you walked up in the 30s or you know, even in the 60s and 70s, if you would have walked up to a married woman that was throwing a fit somewhere and slapped her, you know, her old man was going to whoop your
he's
ass.
Gonna fight you. He's going to boop you on the head.
That's right.
What'd you think of Dr. No, the villain?
Pretty good villain.
I actually really enjoy the Dr. No, and I think he looks the part. Like
when
you think about like Bond villain, you look at somebody like that. I don't know.
He really started. They started the trend with him of having, you know, the crazy villain guy. You know,
the gimmicky,
evil villain.
That's
guy.
another thing that you know I really enjoy about those movies. I really do. I like about all those movies. I like the campiness of the, you know, it don't have to be too goofy, but there's some bad plots in there. Like there's some bad diabolical schemes that were just weird, but I think that was there's a certain charm to those movies and the style of James Bond, and that separates itself from everything else. Like it separates it from being just your average Jason Bourne movie or whatever the fuck you want to call it. You know, it's different than that, or Mission Impossible. This is Bond. He's the cool cat. Like he's a suave, you know, jet black, slick back hair, womanizing, you know, quip. Yeah, I love his one-liners. Yeah, I love it. I think that's what's, you know, even though it's not book Bond, I love Hollywood Bond.
Yeah. Well, that's what people wanted to see in movies back then.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
well, it's that you know, it glorifies being a spy, and that's what you want to see. That's what makes spy movies great.
Yeah. So we pretty much agreed on the best Connery, but
yes, from Rush with Love.
What about do we agree on the worst?
I think. See, I put From Rush with Love 2 all-time list of the best Bond, the best Bond.
Yeah.
Diamonds Are Forever, I would have to say, is Connery's worst.
That's yeah. Okay, so we all agree on his worst.
Yeah. She come back and did that after the Lazenby movie,
and He was too damn old then. I mean, he wasn't old. He's still alive. So I mean, he wasn't too old. But
Well,
he was like 40.
He aged.
He looked too old.
He did.
Too much time had passed.
I know.
You know, if he would have kept doing it, if he wouldn't have had his dispute.
Well, it was.
And I understand his dispute.
It was 2 or 3 years. It was 2 years after On Her Majesty's Secret Service, I think, and that was like, was that 2 years after the other one?
Yeah,
I think that was 2 years. Like that was when they started
69 to 71.
That was when, because there was one every year, and then that's when it kind of started the gap. Excuse me, the gap. I think, but I think that's his worst one, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah,
it's his worst
I
one.
agree.
There's still some redeeming things.
there is redeeming.
Yeah, there
things
is.
in it.
The fight in the elevator is pretty good that he
Mhm.
has when he's trying to say he's somebody else. And as weird as it is, the gay hitmen, they're strange and it's awkward, but
Yeah.
you just want to see him get it at the end of and Bond delivers.
Yeah.
Gets
They
what
were
exactly?
unique.
Gets what in the
Get
end?
what exactly?
I realize as I say that.
yeah. That gets what, huh?
They were unique.
Yeah, especially for that time.
Yeah.
They were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody was putting that in movies then
No.
that I can think of. Of course, I don't watch a whole lot of movies from back then unless they're James Bond, really.
Well, that's true. I don't watch a whole lot back from the '60s and the early '70s,
Other than
a
westerns.
few other things. You know,
You
Willy
know.
Wonka.
I watch
like
a lot
Willy
of
Wonka.
I watch a lot of westerns, but I mean,
Well, right.
they definitely wouldn't put a homosexual in a western.
I think I can kind of see everybody's point. There's there's this big divide between people. You know, usually when you have a breakout star like that, it's hard to get past what he's done for a role. And Connery is still a definitive Bond for most people. I think.
Yeah,
and
I understand that.
And I honestly don't think it's just the fact he was the first one. I mean, that's a lot to do with it because people are. That's like changing an actor to superhero actor, and then it's not the same. They're always going to have comparisons.
Yeah.
I think he just knocked it out of the park so well. It was made for him that I just think it's hard not to.
Well,
see it
yeah,
that way.
they designed Hollywood Bond around Sean Connery.
Yeah, absolutely.
It became him after a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's where most of their problem came from.
Well,
when they tried to switch.
you call it a problem, but I mean,
well, I mean,
it's a problem.
It was a problem back then.
It's a problem when when you compare, I guess. But,
well, I mean, when you compare
but look
their
what we got out
ticket
of it.
sales,
well, yeah.
they about went bankrupt over that shit.
Mhm.
Like it was bad.
Yeah. Well, that's one of those things. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I think Lazenby coming in after On Her Majesty's Secret Service was such a unique. One, it was a unique movie, and I thought he did an excellent job.
I do too.
I honestly can't even wrap my mind around the fact he left. Like, he didn't do another one.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why.
Well, I think he got like shoehorned out. I think.
Well, I think I don't think he wanted it.
No.
I don't think he
Well,
wanted it.
didn't he get involved with a bunch of hippies or something?
Yeah, and
something like
I
that.
think I've heard a couple different things, but I've kind of heard that they wanted him to kind of play the part outside of the they almost like a method actor kind of way, like you're Bond, you're going to be Bond, and he's like, nah, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
So that's what I've heard.
Which is funny because Roger Moore's a hippie,
well,
and I mean, really, he is. Have you ever watched any of his interviews where he talks about his?
I
real
try
life?
not to watch anything. Roger
Oh my
Moore,
god, dude, he is
other than Bond.
He is
movies.
a hardcore hippie. Like,
Really?
Yeah, because he had a problem taking the role because he doesn't believe in any type of violence whatsoever. Yeah,
That makes
and
sense.
so he had a problem taking the role, but he's like, well,
Whatever.
I want to do this high profile job, so I got to get over it.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, but he's weird. He's a hippie. He is.
On Her Majesty's Secret Service, the interesting thing is I didn't watch that until like probably 2 years ago
Oh my god!
for the first
really?
time. I know. I don't know why. I think it was because it was when I got the Blu-ray. I got the Blu-ray set, that box set, 50th anniversary box set or whatever it was, the Blu-ray, and well, it was just never on. Like I didn't hardly ever see it on TV, and if I did, I didn't catch it. And plus, when you're a kid too, you're like, it's not Pierce Brosnan, it's not Connery, it's not a movie I've seen before. I'm like, I really don't care about it. Like, because I kind of had that when I was a kid too. I had, some of them were boring and they were old and dated, and it took me growing up and really appreciating the rest of them to fall in love with the whole thing. But back then I just loved James Bond because of Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
Really, it's just because it was the time I grew up in.
But underneath it all is a very, very well written.
Oh, I don't know. I wish I would have never waited.
I think that's the most underrated James Bond movie.
It's up there.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
Well,
I think so. It still doesn't get the credit it deserves.
Well, I think yes and no, because I think I don't think it's on. I think back in the day it didn't. But I think any time you see a list or something on like the internet, like on YouTube, it's gonna be on there.
Yeah.
Because when people see it, they recognize how good it is and how different it is.
Yeah, but just think about the like you were saying, you just watched it 2 years ago. Think about all the kids that are never gonna watch it.
Well,
ever.
That's their problem. Those are also the same damn kids that I think most of them will. I think most of them will go back and watch old movies eventually. Because that's just what you do when you're older. I mean, most young people, like including myself, we've all been there. Don't watch things that are predated to their birth. You know what I mean?
Did.
well, I did too, but most people don't.
Yeah.
I didn't like a lot of the stuff predated. I watched some stuff.
Yeah.
But there were some things I'm surprised I didn't watch before.
See, I don't get
it's just an appeal thing. It's an aesthetics thing.
How you are with nostalgia, I'm the complete opposite because
I'm a sucker for nostalgia.
The environment that I grew up in is that every single person around me was telling me that if it came out in my generation, then it was garbage. Everything before it was much better.
Oh, well, that's the rebellious in you.
In a way, though, that's kind of what we tell the millennials, too.
It is.
Oh, yeah. Well,
to be fair.
Me and Brandon are millennials. Well, so we hear that shit all the time.
I don't claim them.
Hashtag
not my millennials.
I do. We're the hardest work generation of
hey, I tell you what. I really
That's
don't. I really don't care what group I'm in because I don't think like most of the kids that are in college now or just coming out of college a couple years ago because most of them are insane.
Well,
like the social justice warrior crowd and stuff. But
most of those kids that.
But that depends on the area and culture.
Most of those kids that are like that are because of their parents.
That'll be Bond's next supervillain, social justice.
Social justice. They should.
Well,
they did that with the Last Jedi.
I was about to say there's been a few that's been close.
You notice that? Did you notice that in the Last Jedi? It's more of it's instead of a Nazi theme, it's more of a neo-Nazi theme. Like, well, you got to think that's like he's a like Kylo Ren is a social justice warrior, like in his demeanor in a way. Like that's kind of how I looked at it. Instead of, what you were afraid of back in the 70s, you were afraid of some big, Nazi style regime. That's why the Empire was so scary. Now you got the First Order. They're like neo-Nazis. They're the ones that are holding on to this idea of the past by this larger, bigger, badder group of bad guys. And they're the ones, now they're the ones trying to take control. And Kylo Ren's a little whiny bitch, right? Like, which I love about him. Don't get me wrong.
Right. Yeah,
but that's what he is. He's basically the social justice warrior or neo-Nazi or whatever this time instead of,
if you pay attention to the way he talks, he says, in The Last Jedi, he says, kill the past if you have to.
Right.
Like, that's very SJW talk.
Oh, very much.
Because,
so.
I mean, that's what they say. Not in, sometimes not so much, but most of them say that shit.
I mean, and back to the point, though, is that I don't think a lot of people, excuse me, I'm like him now. I think a lot of people, a lot of kids, young people, don't just watch shit that's that young. So, but I think that as they come back, as they get older, they will watch something like that. I
hope so.
I think that they will watch the older Bonds. I think that they'll watch On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and I think that'll be one of those things. And that's the way it is. Like I said, every list I see, it's higher up there now.
Well, I think it should be.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Like I said, I wouldn't. I think I would have called it underrated. Had I watched it, I would have called it underrated 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But I think now, with as big as YouTube is and everything, and these lists are, I honestly think it's probably higher up there. I don't think it's as underrated as it used to be. I think there's a couple other underrated movies.
Yeah.
Opinion, but that, like I said, I would agree with you. Had it been 10 years ago.
Yeah. Well,
it's still not on the forefront. You get your typical stuff.
Yeah.
Like Goldfinger and all that stuff.
And Goldfinger is one of my I know everybody holds it in high regard, but it's not one of my favorites.
No,
Really.
and I know me and you've talked about this before. We both agree that we think it's overrated.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I don't know if it's overrated. I don't think it's
think
overrated.
it is.
I can't say it's overrated.
I think when
'Cause
people
it's
think
in
Bond,
everybody's-
they think of Goldfinger.
Yeah, I
Well,
do too.
I think that's because of Goldmember. I honestly do. I really think.
Maybe,
I think it's.
maybe.
I think it's just one of those.
And I love Goldmember, by the way.
Oh, I do love Goldmember.
See, I used to whenever somebody would argue with me on James Bond movies, and like they always get pissed. Everybody gets pissed off.
Oh, I'll get pissed.
Everybody gets pissed off, and
Fight
so
me, bro.
so when they would start getting pissed off, and they'd start throwing out ad hominems at me.
Ad hominems.
Yeah,
Hama,
you know
hama.
they'd start attacking your character all of a sudden because you don't like their Bond, which is fucking retarded. But I just tell them my favorite Bond is Austin Powers.
Yeah.
Dude, that gets people so fucking mad. That gets so many people
Because now
mad.
you don't want to fight anymore.
Oh,
And they're like,
yeah.
I want to fight.
Yeah, oh, dude, they're so fucking mad.
That's pretty funny. I don't know, dude. I love Goldfinger. I really do. That's the first Bond movie you said shaken, not stirred.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
I don't
sure,
know.
pretty sure.
It's in everybody's top 5. And
It's good, dude. It's good. It really is.
It's-
It should be up there.
I don't hate it. There's just
Yeah,
so many more I like.
yeah,
better.
Right.
that's the way I feel.
I think it should
It's
be
not
up there.
bad. It's just not in. It's not in my top 5.
It's in my top 5.
Really?
I think it's up there.
It's not in my top 10.
Oh, Andrew, Andrew. Oh, Elizabeth.
But anyway,
No, I
where
do.
were we?
I don't know. All over the place.
All over the place, just like you.
Where are we always at, Chris?
Yeah, where are we always at?
We're anywhere you want
anywhere,
us to be.
anywhere I want us to be.
Anywhere you want us to be, baby.
Wherever I steer this
Yeah.
boat.
Yeah. Whatever you do, wherever you go, I'll be right here waiting for you.
That's right.
How about in a swamp? Because that's where our next Bond had his
Yes.
first movie.
Yes.
Oh my God! See, I can't do it.
Yes.
Not a Roger Moore.
No, I like Roger Moore. Don't get me wrong. I like some of his movies, but not that one.
That's my favorite of his. I love it. Love the setting. The girl is easily the hottest. Easily the hottest, in my humble opinion. Still is. Jesus Christ, have you seen her? She right now, she could be a Bond girl right now.
Glasses came up. He's
She
talking
is
from the heart.
she is smoking hot.
Really? I haven't seen her.
Oh my
I haven't seen her
God.
lately.
Oh my God. Well, she did Wedding Crashers 10 years ago?
Oh yeah, that's
Oh, my
right. She was
God,
super
dude.
hot in Wedding Crasher.
Oh my God. And she just keeps getting better.
Solitaire.
You know how they always say women are like wine, they get better with age.
In that case,
That's not true for the most part,
except for in this case,
except for in this
I
case.
seen a really funny joke.
It's not true for men either, don't get me wrong.
I seen a really funny joke. It was how she was supposedly a virgin, solitaire, and
which is a masturbation joke, by
right,
the way.
right, and then I guess after she did it with Bond in the movie, the guy on the video was like, she's not solitaire anymore, she's free cell. Called her free cell. That's pretty funny, I thought. No, dude, she is one of the hottest. I'll give you that.
And I do like it's a goofy movie for the most
It
part.
is she's the best part about that movie, straight up.
But I love the setting and I like the bad guy. I love the voodoo stuff. I think that's awesome. I think it's the voodoo stuff is.
See, I
is
wasn't
a really
a
cool
big fan
setting.
of the voodoo thing.
Really?
The voodoo stuff. No.
I like the voodoo.
But I mean,
stuff.
you could. Which is funny because I like silly shit, later on in the series or
Yeah.
whatever. But I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of the voodoo stuff.
That movie had an interracial scene, which was kind of a big deal.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, back
Oh,
then. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great.
It's middle of the road for me. But the next one he did, The Man with the Golden Gun, we were talking about underrated movies. It's one of my 2 most underrated.
Yeah.
Oh, see, now that right there is on my underrated list.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I put Live and Let Die 21st.
Really?
Woo!
That's okay
That's
because
a
I'm
lot.
going to disappoint you.
I know
later
you
on.
will. I know you will. I almost did it in just in spite.
I got it ahead of Goldfinger.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
I will boop you on the head.
But anyway, The Man with the Golden
yeah.
Gun. Great villain. Great little henchman.
Yeah.
Dude, that's in my top 12.
I know a lot
Probably
of people.
Probably like I
I
don't
love
know.
it. It's so
best,
weird. I like
best
it.
henchman is a throw up between Jaws
And Knick Knack.
yeah, and Nick
Yeah.
Knack.
And Knick Knack. And dude, Christopher Lee was awesome
Yeah, he
in
is.
that.
Yeah.
3 nipples and all.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah, all 3 of them.
But the Bond girl is one of my favorite Bond girls too.
Well,
She is.
She was in multiple. One of the Bond girls in that.
Oh yeah, I was talking about the other one.
Oh, the other one.
But
Okay.
yeah, what's her face? Golly, her name escapes me right now. Yeah, she was in 3 different ones. But yeah, Mary Goodnight, which is another
Right.
another pretty good play on words. Oh, she was smoking hot in that bikini at the
Yeah.
end. But a lot of people say this one's slow, but I don't care. I like it. Just the 70s kung fu
I had to write them all
stuff,
down because there's so many.
and Thailand as you know, the exotic location.
Yeah.
I want to visit that island so bad.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. He also I think my least favorite of his is, man, I would put it at the very
Moore?
bottom.
Roger Moore.
Yes, and that's Moonraker. I don't like it. I just don't like it.
I would
It's just-
I would almost agree with that. I thought it won View to Kill.
really.
Yeah.
I like A View to Kill a little bit.
I like it better than Moonraker.
Oh, I don't know.
I
man.
hate the space shit, man.
Well, I don't hate it.
Anything that had to do with space before like 2000 something.
You can tell Star Wars happened,
Right,
And
right.
then they're like, "Oh, we got to send them to space."
Exactly.
Well, I had View to Kill at 22 and Moonraker at 16. So
Really?
I had it above it.
Really?
Yeah.
And I used to really dislike Moonraker.
Well, I had You Only Live Twice higher than that. I had it at 13.
I watched it like a year ago, and I'm like, "Oh, it's not as bad as I thought it was, but
Moonraker?
it's still not good."
Moonraker.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It just looked bad.
Yeah.
You know,
I think so, too.
everything looked bad.
Well, it wasn't. It was, like I said, it wasn't great, but I think I liked it just because like Jaws come back in and everything else, and I think Jaws is an awesome bad
Yeah.
guy.
He didn't have near as much to do here as he did in The Spy,
Spy
Who
Who
Loved Me.
yeah,
but
which I thought was a great film. I
yeah,
thought that was.
I think technically it's his best.
I think so too. I'll
And
say that.
she's probably my all-time favorite Bond girl.
I put I actually did I put that? Yeah, I actually put Man with a Golden Gun above Spy Who Loved Me. But I think it just depends on. That's one of those things. It's all both middle of the road. That it depends on what, because I really like Man with a Golden Gun.
Yeah.
And I really like Spy Who Loved Me.
Yeah, I have them side by side on my list.
Yeah, they're really really close. And then moving on from there, we got Timothy Dalton, and Timothy Dalton was, I think, pretty underrated
I agree.
as
I
Bond.
agree. I don't necessarily think he's great, but I
No.
think he gets way too much shit.
I almost like.
You know
him.
what I mean?
I think I like him better than Daniel Craig.
I think
Oh, wow.
I think he's definite precursor
You're
to
taking it too far now.
Daniel Craig. You can see where they wanted to
Look
go.
at me. Look at me.
Yeah.
Straight eyes, buddy.
No, I
No glasses.
I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell that's where they wanted to go, and they just took it even farther with Craig.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it did. Yeah.
But his first movie's one of my favorite Bonds, Living Daylights.
That's one of your favorite Bonds?
It's the other underrated. Yeah,
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. The scene on the frozen lake is like probably one of my at least top 3 favorite Bond moments, where
Really?
he takes that car across there.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought License to Kill was worse, much worse.
Yeah.
I mean, I like some of the guys. I like some of the actors and stuff like that. I think License to Kill had the best Bond girls of probably of any movie,
Wow.
any Bond movie.
Wow.
I'd
The
say.
one was pretty good. The
one of
the
them.
blonde
anyway.
girl is kind of like an Amazon that could fight. She was pretty cool.
The
I don't remember the other one all that much. So
I got her name. Well, Talisa Soto was in License to Kill, and she was Lupa Lamora. And she's Princess Katana in Mortal Kombat.
Really?
Yeah, and she is smoking hot. And then that
Yes,
one,
she is.
yes, she is very much smoking hot. And then what's her name? Carrie Lowell
yeah,
or
that's,
Lowell or whatever. Yeah, she's Pam Bouvier, and she's smoking hot in that movie. I think
it's a shame. I know you're a Brosnan fan, but to me, it's a shame that Dalton didn't get at least one more.
Yeah.
Well, see, I'm the other way around. I don't think we should have Dalton at all.
Right.
I think if it wasn't for the Remington Steele mess, we would have had Brosnan sooner, and Brosnan actually probably would have had those Dalton movies. He probably would have had 2 good movies than Gold. You know what I mean? Like, I think he would have had 2 better movies.
Could have had 3 good movies.
3 good
instead
movies,
of 1 good one.
maybe, possibly, potentially 3 really good movies, and then 3, whatever movies. They kind of went downhill from there. But I'll make my cases for him later.
Right.
I've got The Living Daylights as his best,
Obviously.
and License to Kill.
I think that's
worst.
a no-brainer kind of thing
Yeah.
for most people. I would imagine, unless you just like movies solely on Bond girls, because then you could get a License to Kill.
I've actually seen a few lists online where they have License to Kill above Living Daylights.
Wow.
Which is why I thought it was kind of underrated, but
They be smoking dope.
I think so.
Hey, I like Robert Davi too, but I mean, I just don't think I can. I mean, he's still. I mean, he's not ultimate villain kind of thing.
Nah.
You know what I mean?
I thought it was kind of funny, the cameo with Wayne Newton. In that movie.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. Anyway, but yeah, I think if Brosnan would have had those movies, I think it would have been much better
for him.
for him. For the movies too.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I think the movies would have been slightly altered, and I think you would, because I think, and you said it before to me earlier, but I think that Brosnan is that perfect mix between, and I agree with you. I think he's the perfect mix between the books, like a Daniel Craig one, and that Roger Moore
Campy.
style. Yeah, I mean, if you call it campy, or not Roger Moore, Sean Connery, which he's not super campy. Like, he has Sean Connery had a touch of both.
Yeah.
and he really did. But I thought Pierce Brosnan, especially in Goldeneye, really showed how tough and badass he was, and how gritty he was and could be, but also how charming and suave he was, and he had the one-liners and really awesome moments.
Yeah.
I thought he was. I said he's up there, man. I think he's my favorite Bond anyway. But and I'll agree. I'm probably biased because I grew up with him, but even looking back and watching all these over and over again, I still can't. I don't Connery and him are right up there.
My thing with Brosnan, and me and you've had this discussion 800 billion times. This is 801 billion. My thing with Brosnan is he shows how it should be done in his first one, and then he gradually shows you how it shouldn't be done.
I don't think so. I don't think that's him. I think
his last movie is my very least James Bond movie.
That's insane.
I went
about Let Me Down.
I went in 2002. In 2002, I went to the theaters to watch Die Another Day, and I almost left because I was so disappointed.
No,
it was just the world's worst movie I've ever seen in my life. It was terrible. It was god awful terrible. Okay, and I'll give you this. I was super excited the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty gritty.
The first 15 minutes, I thought, hell yeah, he's finally going back to Goldeneye. He's finally going to do a little bit more serious. This is going to be awesome. This is going to be great. And then what happens? No, he goes the complete opposite way. And I mean, it's not his fault. It's the people that fucking
that's
made
what I'm saying.
it.
It's not even him at
it's
all.
not his fault.
His character never changed at all.
Mm-mm.
It's the people around him in the script. Like, it's the plot around him. It's the bad guys that were weak. It wasn't.
But
yeah, the moment after the torture, he shows up in pajamas like it's no big deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the way it is with all of them too, though.
I mean, what do you?
You know what I mean? Like, you could say more. You know, his were way more campy, but he didn't write the fucking script.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't making the movie. He was just there to do a job.
That's true.
Just
That's
like
true.
Brosnan.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't put it. You can't.
In a way, they do cater them to their strengths.
Yeah, in a way.
At the same time.
In a way.
Yeah.
But, dude, I was so mad. I'm still mad to this day.
Really?
Like, I want my money back. I want my $3 fucking dollars back for real.
$3 in 2002.
Because I wanted a matinee.
You poor thing.
So it was cheap, and I was like,
$3.
hell yeah.
Well, there you go. $3 movies. I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen worse movies for $10.
I ain't seen many.
I bought it at a pawn shop for $3, and
There
Oh,
you go.
man.
There you go.
it was too much.
And you can hold on to it.
It
forever.
was. It was.
Right.
Keep it. You can keep it forever.
It was. No, I have tried to watch it again. It's on Amazon Prime, so I have tried to watch it again.
I've watched it several times, man. I
Can't do
can
it.
I can find
God
I can
damn,
find a
it's
reasonable.
terrible.
Hey, let me tell you something. I think it's bad. I'll agree with you. I think it's bad, but I can find a lot of redeeming qualities in it too. Not many, but I can.
many.
Like the first 15 minutes is
Yeah.
definitely awesome.
Yeah.
It's some of the best I think in a Bond film.
Yeah, I agree.
In any Bond film.
I agree.
But
It's got some bad stuff.
I think the first 15 minutes are awesome.
Madonna as a fencing instructor.
well, Madonna being in it was.
If there's a
silly.
movie with Madonna in it, I hate it.
I think
already.
I think
hate it.
I think it's one
She's
of those,
the worst.
I think she was the first one to be in the movie and do the theme at the same time. So that was one of those things where I don't know, it's another first. I think they just squeezed her in there for the hell of it. She's like, it was probably an
That's
agreement thing.
That's how I seen Halle Berry too. I
Yeah,
thought they just squeezed her in just because
she was
was
at the
hot.
time. Yeah,
Because she was hot.
And
I mean, she still is hot.
there
But
were-
I mean, she was.
there were a
she
lot
was
of
a hot. She was a hot commodity.
right. I was
you
gonna
know.
say like hot, it was all hot.
Yeah.
This was like the 40th anniversary Bond too, and there were a lot of nods that kind of
Yeah.
Yeah.
slowed the script down
Yeah.
too.
Well, that's kind of how I felt about Skyfall.
Yeah, I can see that too.
You know, that's how I kind of felt about that.
But the action was terrible.
In Die Another Day.
Yes.
Oh man,
Oh, my
I don't think
God.
all of it was terrible.
It looked like, I mean, you could tell he was hanging from from suspension ropes in front of a green screen the whole time.
Well, they did a lot of CGI,
Like it was,
especially that.
it was terrible.
Well, that
the villain was the worst.
Yeah,
oh my
I
god,
didn't like him.
I can't think of a worse Bond villain.
I could probably give me a little bit of time to think. I probably could.
Besides that, I was
The plot
what I was trying to say is there was a time that they should have killed campiness, but they didn't do it. They started with Dalton. They started with Dalton trying to make it more serious. And then GoldenEye came around. And like you were saying, it was a perfect mix of Hollywood and
The book.
the book. It was a good mix.
It was the first one not to be based off of one of his.
But it was a good mix.
Yeah.
And then from then on, they just went campy.
Well, I think Tomorrow Never Dies is a good is kind of a continuation of GoldenEye is a perfect storm of both, because you've got your serious with him and Michelle Yeoh, running around, but you've also got your campy with like the remote control in the back seat of the car.
Yeah.
See, but I don't think that was so campy that it was bad.
No, I say it was good campy.
Right.
Yeah,
it was very good. Campy.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah,
campy.
it was very good
No.
campy.
But
that's another one of my most underrated films.
Yeah, me
because
too.
anytime you have a list, Tomorrow Never Dies, it's like
way down at the bottom.
way at the bottom.
Really?
It's like the second or third at the bottom. I watched one today that was like that.
I wouldn't put it high up, but I'd put it in the middle.
I enjoy it. The
No,
stuff where they're
most people put it all at the bottom.
Yeah,
They'll put all the Bros movies at the bottom, just like
Yeah.
you would.
the stuff
for the
where
most
they're
part.
handcuffed together on the motorcycle. It's just awesome.
I thought it was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. The only
But I hate the villain in that movie.
I don't hate the villain. I don't hate the villain. Elliot Carver.
He's not one of my favorites.
Well, it is a little too tomorrow-ish. It's a little too futuristic kind of but it's kind of real in the sense that there's internet moguls right now. There's media moguls now who are hell bent on. Look at all the fake news shit. You know what I mean? Like they're hell bent. Of course, this guy was like really committing these fucking horrible acts and then putting it on.
Well, who's saying Fox News and CNN ain't doing it?
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
CNN makes
It
shit
may
up all
be-
the time, and they get called out on it,
it
but
may
nobody
be-
ever pays attention.
It may be one of those like right in fucking front of your eye kind of movies that this shit happens and everybody calls it silly, but is it really silly? That's what I like about it. I think he's
I just didn't like him.
I liked it. I liked him. I
I didn't
the
like
villain.
him, and I hated Terry Hatcher. Terry Hatcher
Oh,
should have
no.
quit acting
No.
when she was Lois.
I thought she's one of my hottest Bond
Oh,
girls.
she's hot. Don't get me wrong. She's hot as a
She just-
motherfucker.
she's not.
I
She's
didn't
not.
feel like
she's-
she belonged there.
But she is a terrible actress.
Well, you got to think most of the Bond girls were terrible actresses.
Well, Not all of them.
No, most of them were though, for real.
Halle's a good actor. Halle Berry's a good actor.
She wasn't good in that movie though.
No, she's an
Actually,
her and Terry Hatcher are tied on
one
my
of
list
my worst, one of the worst scenes in Die Another Day. One of my most hated scenes is how she acts in that movie, and it's her face as she's getting ready, and it's the one where she dives backwards off the cliff.
Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's green screened. It's silly the way the camera falls. It's really cheesy, and she has this like smug look on her face, like I'm better, and just how she. I don't know. I hate it. That's like one of my least favorite scenes.
That's
so bad.
That's one of my least favorite scenes.
That's my absolute
my absolute worst favorite scene, least favorite scene from that movie is when he is fucking surfing.
Oh, that's pretty bad. Yeah,
that's pretty bad. No, that ruined the movie. That ruined it.
No, it can't. That can't be.
Ruined it.
There's other shit that he's done in those movies that are just as bad as that too. I'll tell you. I tell you what, that's
man. I'm not even joking when I'm telling you that I was truly upset.
I thought the ice building, like the ice house thing or whatever that was in, was silly. But at the same time, I loved him going to try and rescue Miranda Frost. Halle Berry.
Based on a real place.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, when he was going to try and rescue Halle Berry, he was driving that car up there. I thought that was kind of cool. As I was melting, I thought it was
I couldn't get past the villain and the way he looked, and it took me several times to watch this movie. And that's never a good thing.
Yeah, no, I liked it. Like I said, but it's just kind of different though, because it's like with anything. There's certain things we can excuse in bad movies because we like it, and then in other movies we don't. I'm guilty of doing the same thing.
I think in a James Bond movie, if it was made after 1990, that it should be scrutinized. We have the technology. It's like the $5 Million Man. We got the technology. We can make it work. You don't have to do campy. We can whatever you want to do, we can do it.
Yeah.
By God.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I just don't think it was there. They ended up doing something with Mission Impossible and some others by then. And
they were trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of it.
And that's.
But I will,
That's one thing. And
as much as I dislike Brosnan, Goldeneye is in my top 3.
Yeah.
Favorite Bond movie.
Yeah.
Because it's an amazing movie. It really is. And I know you think I know you've said in the past that you really like his just the way he looks and acts and stuff, and that's the opposite for me. I don't like, he's a little too British for me. I don't like British people. Sorry, British. I don't. I'm sorry, British people. Sorry. But I don't like you. I don't like.
He's politely telling you.
Well, I'm a fucking redneck from Missouri. I'm not supposed to like British people.
Don't perpetuate your own stereotype either.
They don't like me.
No, they don't like you.
I don't like them. That's the way it should be.
I can agree.
That's why we left them.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
I know.
That's why we left them. We don't like each other.
I mean, I get it. I agree. I agree too.
He's just too British.
I love him, dude. I think he's great. I think there's a lot of them motherfuckers. Roger Moore's way too goddamn British.
I
like Roger Moore, so they must not piss me off too bad.
You got me there. He's way too British.
He's very gentlemanly.
Yeah,
gentlemanly. A little too much. Yeah. If you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
dude. I don't know. I think a lot of people shit on World's Not Enough. Too many people shit on World's Not Enough.
I do.
I love it. I can't. Really? I love it.
I like the fact that the main villain turns out to be his love interest.
I do like that,
and I think she's gorgeous. But other than that, I'm not too keen on it.
I don't like her henchman.
Stockholm syndrome thing, kind of weird.
Right. I don't like her henchman. Well, I guess I call him a henchman, but really he's the whatever. I don't like him. But I did like the twist. That was about it. I hated the Bond girl. She was a terrible actress.
Oh yeah, Denise Richards is a terrible actress. She was super hot though.
Oh, she's super hot.
That's all you need, dude. It's a Bond girl. Come on.
Yeah, but it's too late in the game for that.
He's straight up going social justice warrior on her, Andrew.
You've gotta
move on.
You gotta change.
You gotta change.
It's not enough to just be hot. you have to be hot and good. There's enough actresses that have proven that you can be hot and a good actress.
Sure. I think he's just hung up on the fact it was a 90s film, though. He hates 90s films.
You know what?
Super cringy.
I love, that's most 90s movies are cringy, but I do love action movies from the 90s. And I like a lot of comedy movies from the 90s.
I think World's Not Enough is great.
But I think they went way astray on a lot of these.
I think it's my top 10. I like World's Not Enough.
I don't have a whole lot to say about it. It's not one of my favorites. I don't watch it very often.
Yeah. Well, most people don't really like it. I don't know. I don't understand.
I didn't like the whole thing with Denise Richards. Really screwed that movie up for me.
Really?
She was just in it for the pun at the end of the movie.
Yeah, like that was it.
Which was a good pun.
Like, oh yeah, she's the scientist. Really?
Oh sure, yeah, I get that, but I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal. Like I said, I think
wasn't a whole lot of good action in that one either. I mean, it was a better story.
Good action.
It was a better story than others, but it wasn't. It didn't have very good action compared to, like, if you compare it to Goldeneye. It's not.
Well,
it's not. You know, no Brosnan movie's ever gonna hold up to Goldeneye.
No Bond movie's gonna hold up to Goldeneye.
Ooh.
No Bond movie's gonna hold up to Goldeneye.
Because I think the next movie that came after Die Another Day may have superseded Goldeneye.
Oh,
nope.
In my book, it did.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
If you ask the guy that created James Bond, I guarantee you he'd say yes.
Ian Fleming.
I guarantee it.
Last time I checked, I didn't give a shit what anybody thinks except myself.
You know, that Casino Royale and Daniel Craig.
I think that's overrated as shit.
That
movie.
That is.
I think it's good. Don't get me wrong, but
that is how Ian Fleming wrote James Bond.
Mm-hmm.
You can say that you like other James Bonds more, but if you compare the book to the movie, none of them will come close to anywhere near.
Oh sure,
Casino Royale.
I've never argued that ever.
It's not gonna.
I've never argued that.
It's not gonna happen.
I've never.
And they are very good books,
but
which I've only read 3.
Right.
So, I mean,
I'm sure they are.
I'm not
I'm sure there are
expert.
But how many people do you think read the books?
Not
how
probably,
many people that argue that Daniel Craig's the best Bond because it's the closest to the books have actually read any of the books?
Oh, probably not very many.
They just regurgitate the same shit.
I'm a huge Bond fan. I've only read 1.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a huge Bond fan. I hadn't read any of them.
Yeah,
I probably should read a few of them. I'm not going to say that I wouldn't like them. I'm not going to say that had it been a different actor, I might have liked them more.
Yeah,
I'm just not a Daniel Craig fan. But I mean, here's the thing. I can respect the fact that this is closer to the books. I can respect the fact that we're trying to change, with the times and stuff like that. But I'll voice my opinion anyway. I think that it's good to have a healthy dose. Like, it's a mix. That's the best thing about these spy movies, man. Like, there's nothing about Casino Royale that makes it any fucking different than any other spy movie out there right now. There's nothing. In my opinion, there's not a single Daniel Craig Bond movie, good or not, that is any fucking different than any other spy movie, like Bourne Identity.
Oh, I would argue against that.
I would just for the last act of the movie.
Yeah,
it's like the best love story ever told.
Yeah,
almost. Well, I wouldn't say that,
Close.
but it's the love story is like
that
like it was a good movie up to that point. That pushed it over the top for me.
Yeah.
To show why this was supposed to be his first assignment, to show why he's the womanizer and SOB that he is.
Yep.
Like when
he didn't even find that till Spectre, though. He didn't even start kind of doing that till Spectre, really.
Well, kinda.
No, he didn't. Not really.
Well, he didn't
Spectre,
have it all
Spectre was
figured out.
No, Spectre. I mean, Spectre was later, obviously, and right. But Spectre was, I thought, a fair mix of like that, because it kind of brought a little bit of that back, that one-liner, that campiness, just a little touch of that with the grittiness. And I thought that that's actually one of the reasons why I like Spectre the most out of his movies, because I thought Spectre was all around a great movie, and I thought he did an okay job in that movie. Had it been anybody else, it would have been probably 10 times better for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I just do not like Daniel Craig.
Wow.
I do think he has a hard time pulling off the the comedy stuff. Like
Oh, yeah.
one-liner
Oh, sure.
stuff
Yeah.
kind of fall flat.
Sure.
Yeah, that's not
even the reason. I just can't fucking stand him. I don't like him. I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's a good Bond.
I think he's awesome.
I mean, a lot of people feel that way. I get that.
He's my favorite.
But a lot of people don't like Bond or didn't like Bond until Daniel Craig was Bond.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, that's because the story was written that way. That's because it was that time. You come from a time where Batman Begins just come out. Nolan was getting bigger. You had a lot of things moving in the direction of very realistic.
Yeah.
And that was just the product of its time, just like all of them were, really. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like
being a product of its time, one of the harder scenes for me to watch, and I love the scene, is the parkour stuff in the beginning where he's chasing the guy up the skyscraper.
See, I didn't like that much.
And
I liked everything else later in the casino and stuff.
The first time I saw it, I didn't really care for it, and I mean I think that's why it was in there, because parkour was like it. At the time.
Straight up.
But I've come to enjoy that scene now for what it is.
It's a good chase scene.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's a good movie, and it's actually in my top 10 because it's a good movie. But I don't. It's definitely overrated.
Can we talk about?
It's not as high
the scene?
up on.
Oh yeah.
What is it?
Yeah, that is actually my favorite. My favorite James Bond moment is the torture scene.
Oh, the torture scene,
from Casino Royale.
It's up there.
It's
pretty brutal.
It's one of the most grittiest things I've seen in a movie.
Yeah,
like really,
from a great Bond villain.
My God,
Mads
he is actually my favorite villain too.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's my favorite, but Mads Mikkelsen is a good villain.
Lashif he is the most reasonable Bond villain that there's ever been. He was just trying to save his own life. Like I mean, really, he wasn't.
Yeah.
He wasn't doing this shit because he enjoyed it or because he wanted to take over the world. He was doing it because he had to have that money to save his life.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that was his only goal in life, was to save his own money.
Alive.
And so it was understandable that he was kind of being that bad of a guy. It was kind of understandable because he was just trying to save his own ass.
Yeah.
And I do love Mads Mikkelsen. I think he's an awesome bad
great.
guy.
I think
he just looks the part, dude.
Oh yeah,
he looks like a bad guy.
He does. Yeah.
I bet he's an evil motherfucker, dude.
Yeah.
I bet he is.
When he was a good guy in The Force Awakens, I was like, what?
Yeah. And like they had Mads Mikkelsen, and they only had him in there for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, maybe he was doing something else.
I don't know. I thought that was weird.
Yeah, it was.
Like if I had Mads Mikkelsen, I'd be like, okay, we're gonna have him for about the whole hour.
Yeah, we're gonna use the shit out of him.
But no, that's one of my favorite parts of the movie, just because it's so real, and like he shows it in his face when he gets broken.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, you can just tell. You can tell when he gets broke as a man.
That line, I'm going to tell the whole world you died scratching my balls, is one of the best Bond lines ever.
Yeah. Dude, and it's so painful to watch. It's
very painful to watch.
My God.
It is memorable. I'll give you that. It's one of the most memorable.
And it's creative.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Like I said, that right there is taking a notch over the Die Another Day torture stuff.
Yeah,
but obviously because it's just so like gritty and real. But I mean, because it was a good scene. It was powerful stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But that's up there. I can agree with you on that.
Well, when he dives down in the water to get her, that's a pretty powerful scene too. When he pulls her up out of there, that's pretty powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I was gonna say, so that's the second time something like that really has happened to Bond on film.
Yep.
I was gonna say there was only one, but that's the second time because Lazenby's.
Yeah.
And
that was powerful as shit.
That
too.
was
because he snapped.
Yeah.
Like, well, that cop drives up to the window and he's like, "It's okay.
She's just taking a nap.
She's just taking a nap."
Yeah.
Like, no, motherfucker, she's dead.
Yeah, she's dead. That's what I'm saying. That's what I think I like about her on Her Majesty's Secret Service so much. Is not just the movie itself, but the ending was something we've never seen before or after until this movie. But that was, man, I loved On Her Majesty's Secret Service. That was awesome.
And did you love how Quantum of Solace picked up right after Casino Royale left off?
Well, I know he likes that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I do for the most part.
Yeah, I love it.
Too bad the movie was shit.
Yeah. Right.
Total dog shit.
You could tell the Jason Bourne movies had started along that time because everything was shaking.
I'm saying. Yeah. So I'm saying.
But I'll absolutely agree with you. I'll absolutely agree with you. Quantum of Solace
Everybody
got
to have that. The thing is when trends like that shit sets in, it's happened forever and it's always going to happen. But like when that shit sets in, man, they go off one thing. Same stuff happens in games. And everything's got to have like a battle royale style. You know what I mean? So everything just becomes a big fucking mushed up mess.
Yep.
Like every movie is the fucking same.
Yeah. And
that's what this feels like, man. That feels what most of these films feel like.
I think
most of his films feel that way.
I think. I'd say just this one. I would 100% say just this one.
There's a couple scenes I like.
There's a few things I see. I think the first three were just not like it was very like Casino Royale was a good movie. I think it's a very good movie, but it's very disconnected from Bond entirely. Like the whole movie.
That's what I liked about it.
See, I don't because I can't.
I loved that.
I don't. I hate it. I hate it because that's not Bond.
I love
like it's book Bond, but like I said, who gives a fuck about the books?
Well, I do.
What I mean? Huh?
I do.
Yeah, but do you really?
Yeah.
You haven't even read but 3?
Yeah. Yeah, I've read 3. That's 3 more than you've read.
Well, sure. But I
do care.
See, but most people don't.
That's like with
you're one person. You're very different from everybody else.
Like with Rooster Cogburn, I absolutely care when they remade Rooster Cogburn.
Mm-hmm.
They made him like the book. I absolutely love that.
The Nutri-Grit was way better.
Yeah, it was. And it was just exactly like the book.
I enjoy them both.
Yeah.
Just exactly like the book. Now my dad, he hates the new one.
No, because
it's like the book and he don't read books.
But like I said, no most people don't care about that sort of thing. Like me and you, like I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Because me and you care about comic books.
Yeah.
And me and you care about source material. I care about that.
Yeah.
But did you care about the Bond movies or did you care about the books first? So like that's what I'm saying is the typical thing is people don't give a shit about that. And I think in this case it's complete opposite for me. I think we have this established character, we have this established style. We've had it for 50 fucking years or damn near before, Craig stuff. Yeah, but no one gave two shits about the book.
Yeah, but
it was like the books weren't big like the movies.
You were saying though. We've had it for 50 years. It's time to change.
Yeah.
You cannot make it.
Well, that's subjective though. That's completely subjective.
You can't.
Well, you can't keep making them like the 60s movie. Like they all changed as the decades went on. They all changed a little bit. I mean, but like I say, you don't have to change who Bond is when people are used to it. You don't have to change a spy movie, a great spy movie that's unique like James Bond, to everything else.
But if you don't, it'll be the same movie over and over and over.
But it's going to be. But if you do change it, it could be the same movie as every other fucking spy movie.
And this is
so it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing?
It could be, but that's kind of just saying if I keep walking this one path, then I won't trip because I know this one path doesn't have a twig on it.
No, well, I mean, the thing is there is a way to keep this going where it feels like James Bond and it feels like new at the same time. And
I don't know if there is.
Well, sure there is. GoldenEye did it.
Yeah,
Spectre did it.
GoldenEye did it, and then they went right back to the way it was.
Well, that's not Pierce Brosnan's fault. That's just I don't even know what that was. That was stupidity.
Yeah, I know.
But like that's what I'm saying though. It is possible to have a healthy dose of who James Bond is as a movie character and what James Bond could bleed in from the books. Like, you can have those. Like I said, most people don't give a fuck about the books. That's just the honest truth. I think people would lie and say, oh, yeah, I love it because I love source material. No, you don't. You don't read them.
Yeah.
But
it's like comic books.
But I honestly think there is a healthy balance here that because whether we like it or not, whether any purist thinks they like it or not, James Bond was not made popular by a fucking book. James Bond is, I'm sure they're good books. I don't want to disrespect that. But James Bond was made popular by movies, by Sean Connery. That's what happened.
Yeah.
So you don't let that go. You don't make it like everything else. You make it James Bond that can help, that can relate to a contemporary audience, and you don't have to make him chauvinistic.
That's
like
gonna
he
be
was
super hard to do.
No, it's not.
It's gonna be super hard to do.
Well, then I don't know. You got to fucking figure it out, because he can still have some minor one-liners. He can still be suave. He don't have to be a rapist. You know what I mean? But he can still be James Bond. He can still be better than or different than Jason Bourne. For instance, you know,
I don't see Daniel Craig as Jason Bourne.
I do. I don't
at all.
It's the same
Now,
fucking thing.
Quantum of Solace was 100% like Jason Bourne.
Right.
The other ones were nothing like Jason Bourne. Not one single little bit.
I see, but it was a much more down to earth, gritty spy movie. But it didn't feel like James Bond at the same time.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the closest thing that felt like James Bond.
But that's what
was
most
Spectre.
people want to see. Most people want to see a gritty spy movie.
Right now.
Right now.
Now.
Right.
And I don't think it's ever going to go back.
Oh, I'm just simply making my case.
I think
here.
it will eventually.
You think it will?
Yeah.
I think
It
Daniel
has to.
Craig's
It
got
has
one
to.
more movie at this point, and I think it will. I think it'll.
I think it has.
Really?
I think it has to. I think it has to. And I think it has to be. I think it has to be both.
And it'll depend
I
on the
think
strengths of your actor.
Exactly.
But I think you will see. Campy to some degree.
I think we'll get another Goldeneye, like level movie. I think we do, but I think we need the right actor for it, and Daniel Craig's not that actor.
Right. Oh no, yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean?
No, he can't do campy.
Like I said, well, and like I said, we use the term campy because I guess it fits the best. But that makes that
most of them.
I don't want to cheapen. I don't want to cheapen the sound of it by saying that. You know, does that make sense? I don't want to cheapen it to the point because there is good campy. Like there is. I don't want to make it sound like we're cheapening it.
There is anymore.
Oh yeah, of course there is.
They've done it. If you do campy now, it's comedy. Kingsman does campy, and they do it well, and it is funny. It is comedy.
Yeah.
And I do like that.
Well, yeah, but that's not.
See,
that is blatantly over the top.
Yes, it is.
Whereas James Bond's not been blatantly. Over the top.
Oh yes, he has.
Well, not Kingsman.
Every one of Brosnan's has been way over the top, except Goldeneye.
Not Kingsman style.
No,
over the top.
not
you know what
Kingsman
I mean? That's
style.
what I'm saying. Like that.
But they have been way too
Roger
far.
Moore's.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes. He started emulating where Dalton left off, and he ended up emulating where Moore left off.
Yeah,
I
mean, where you had like triple take pigeons. And...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes
where
sense.
Craig, which we keep saying their names like they're the ones doing it when they're not. But Craig started strong with just a serious Bond.
Mm-hmm.
No funny business.
Well, that was the idea at the time.
Just serious. Then they went to a Jason Bourne, which was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
They heard everybody's crying over it, because everybody did. I did.
I don't even think most people who like Casino Royale bitched because it was like Jason Bourne. I think they bitched. I think they were fine with it being like Jason Bourne. I think they bitched because it was a weak plot. There was nothing special about
Solace,
it.
Yeah,
there's nothing special about.
Very short movie too.
It's a very short, bland movie. There's nothing special about Quantum Solace.
It's awful. Short.
No, it was bad.
If it had been like Jason Bourne and it had a good plot and good action, no one would have gave a fuck.
The first Jason Bourne.
Then we would have had Skyfall, which would have been another Jason Bourne movie.
I like the fact that Quantum had people in the organization and they didn't even know it. In the beginning.
I did. Yeah, I did.
Mr.
Like
White
that.
talks about that.
The beginning of it was good.
And I like the scene where he spies on them at the opera.
That's the only scene I like.
Yeah.
That's the only scene I really like.
Yeah.
But other than that,
it's terrible.
Yeah.
And
Skyfall.
I like Skyfall.
Skyfall was better. And again, I think there's a couple things about Skyfall that were interesting and good because they touched like on his past, and then they end up killing off Judi Dench as M. And that was crazy. I think that was a notable thing. I think it's way overrated.
Really?
I think Skyfall's good.
I think a little bit.
I think Skyfall's good. I mean, I've got it in my top 12 as well. Like his movies are there as much as I shit on them because they're good. They're pretty decent movies, except for Quantum of Solace. That's actually the very, very last movie on my list. It's the fucking
really.
It's the fucking worst.
Wow.
Oh, 24. It's 24. Straight up. Quantum of Solace is the worst.
Wow.
Yeah. Die Another Day's 19th. Mm-hmm.
Holy shit! What is under that?
You're gonna love it, dude. You're gonna love it.
Oh my God.
Because I know one of them you like, I've got Octopussy at 23.
Wow.
I got A View to Kill at 22. Wow. I got Live and Let Die at 21.
Wow.
And I've got Diamonds Are Forever at 20. Wow. And then 19's Die Another Day. Yep. Wow. And then License to Kill. License to Kill only got a couple extra points because the Bond girls were so good. And that's it.
I have Die Another Day very dead last.
Yeah, me too.
Very dead.
No, I can't do it. I agree it should be at the bottom of somebody's list.
And this one is right next to it.
Yeah, I can agree that this should be at the bottom of people's list, but not. I don't know. I don't think it's the very, very bottom. Like
really?
This is just. Well, here's the thing. I actually had more fun watching Die Another Day, as stupid as it was.
Really?
Well, yeah. I mean, you got to think. Campy can still be more entertaining than boring. Like, Quantum of Solace was shit.
I wasn't that bored.
It was shit boring.
I mean, I thought it was very boring.
Oh, it was shit boring.
Other than those two scenes.
But I didn't want to walk out of the theater when I watched Quantum of Solace.
Well,
I did when I watched Die Another Day.
Oh, my God. Dude.
I wanted to fucking kill myself.
Well, that's extreme. But that's opinion.
That's
what I'm saying.
You got to think, at that time, in 2002, I was a very big Bond fan, and I was a young kid, and I had to spend my own money to watch this movie.
I don't think I've ever been that passionate at that age.
And
about a movie.
And I thought for sure, when I seen that, I just knew they weren't going to make another one.
Really?
I just knew. It was so bad that they had to kill it.
You want to hear something funny?
They were going to kill it with fire.
You want to hear something great?
What?
It's the highest grossing Bond film.
That's terrible.
Up until that time, it was.
Oh, up until that time.
Yeah,
well, I mean, that's subjective because you have inflation.
Well, I mean,
I went in a matinee, so it was like $3, but you got to think most movie tickets were like $10. Yeah. When my mom and dad were going to watch James Bond in high school, it was fucking $1.25.
Still, it's the highest grossing. I mean,
it's, you can't unless you.
Oh, I'm sure Craig's have passed it up.
Oh, by far.
I'm sure. I haven't looked. I need to look at the numbers.
Anytime you adjust.
I'm pretty sure it said it was the highest grossing Bond.
Adjust for inflation.
I'm pretty sure it's the highest grossing Bond.
Skyfall.
Until probably Skyfall, because I think Skyfall actually did beat it.
I like Skyfall, but I think it's about a half hour too long.
It is a half hour too long.
Didn't Spectre beat out?
Did it? It may have.
I think it did.
I don't know if it did.
I think Spectre did very well.
I liked it, dude. Okay, so here's the thing. I do like Skyfall a little bit. I do like it.
I like Skyfall.
I think Skyfall's good, but I think it's severely overrated. When people tell me, this is just my opinion, but I think when people tell me that Spectre was worse than Skyfall, or that it was actually the worst Daniel Craig film, I want to just fucking murder him.
And I think most people disagree with us. We all like Spectre better, right?
Oh yeah, I can agree with you guys on that. Yeah. I like Spectre way better. Yeah. Skyfall I thought Skyfall was 2.5 hours of fucking straight 50th anniversary pandering.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Other than the M dying and a couple other things.
It was a lot of story building too.
The Q was fucking terrible. I hated young Q. I hated it. I hate it.
He's the Inspector. He kind of made up for it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like I do have. I am kind of that old curmudgeon now. Like when it comes to stuff like that. Like when it comes to stuff like I also kind of it's and I'm the same way with superhero movies. I resent not all new kids or anything that like these movies. I just resent the fucking fact that kids only like this shit now because,
Well, it's not just kids either. I mean, I'm older than you.
Well, yeah,
and I would
3 months, 4 months,
and I would put Craig over Brosnan all day, every day.
Well, that's because you want the realism.
I do.
You don't like you don't like the, but you're not, like I said, you're not as emotionally invested as I resent. I think it's more of. Let me reword it. I think I resent the fact that so many people love Skyfall because of all the little homages. Yeah. And it's like, you don't even fucking like James Bond. You didn't even like James Bond until Daniel Craig became James Bond. Yeah. Now, I forgive, and it's an exception, the fucking kids and the younger people who grew up with Daniel Craig starting out, because I'm the same way with Brosnan.
That's what I was going to say.
I can excuse that.
There's a lot of people older than you that resent you.
Absolutely. Listen, I can understand that. I excuse that. I understand that perfectly. But I see it as, I cannot stand the fact that people would do that pandering shit and eat it up because
I think the pandering worked in this case though, because I
Oh, it did.
know when
like that's why it's
I went
overrated.
and seen it. Yeah, in a way. I know when I went and seen it was 50% old people.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
And when he drives out of there
With
you
the
know,
DB5,
right?
yeah.
Oh yeah,
oh yeah,
The
right,
whole place
yeah, exactly.
popped.
Everybody, and,
Oh,
and the old
I did.
classical instrumental,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, of course.
I
everyone loved
did
it.
too. Because that car's fucking sexy
It's
as hell,
badass,
man.
exactly.
It's a sexy
That's what I'm
car.
saying. We all love
Meets
it.
a grisly demise.
Well, here's the thing. Like
That's the worst. You know what? That movie has. Oops, sorry. That movie has its faults, but the biggest bugaboo for me was them fucking blowing that goddamn car up, dude.
Yeah.
That is a sexy
Like-
ass car. And there's only, oh my god, there's only so many left in the world, and they fucking blew one up.
It's crazy.
Oh my god,
It's crazy. I don't know. Like I'm just, it's like I said, the pandering did work, and we all felt it at the same time.
Oh, yeah, I did.
but you feel it because, like in my case, you feel it because you're trying to find any shred or any ounce of James Bond that's been in film for 50 years in this movie that you didn't get out of the last two, that you barely got. You know what I mean?
I got from Casino Royale. I got an actual real spy. I got a real spy.
But it wasn't James Bond. I mean, it is and it isn't. Like, it wasn't the same James Bond. That's what but that's all subjective.
Oh yeah, it's
It's
very
all
subjective.
subjective.
Very
It's
subjective.
all subjective.
I
That's
was
why.
going to say in story he was trying to figure out how to be James Bond.
Yeah.
At that point, that was his
Yeah.
first mission.
Right.
It's kind of like it's actually the same argument I have for people that didn't like Man of Steel. He was, Man of Steel is an origin story for Superman. And there's a lot of people that didn't like it because
Not me.
Superman shouldn't be like that. He shouldn't be he should just automatically be Superman and just
Right.
go around saving everybody. Well, who would?
I wasn't automatically a badass when I was born, but I am now.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. You didn't come out your mama's womb playing guitar, did you?
That's right.
I did. I just forgot how. I just didn't practice enough.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's the same argument. In Casino Royale, he finds his way. He finds his I guess assholedness.
Hey, I'm
like-
gonna have to tell you something. I can agree and disagree at the same time because just when you think he might, Quantum of Solace happens and he's Jason Bourne.
Well, yeah. I agree with you.
At least with Superman, he was a little bit better in BVS, and then he was Superman when he come back in Justice League.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know what I mean? Like
I agree with you about Quantum of Solace, but Skyfall was 10 times better than Quantum of Solace.
oh well, yeah, that's not hard to say.
and
sure.
then Spectre was
Spectre
was a little bit better than
I think
Skyfall.
Spectre he was Bond. I don't know what the intention there was or why. But
See, I don't
He
think
was more Bond in
It
Spectre.
wasn't.
He felt more traditional.
I
More
didn't.
traditional.
I didn't
It
get
did.
that much more difference.
I think it may have been because they reincorporated Blofeld back into
Maybe.
the script. He
Well,
felt like
that's
Bond?
that might be part of it, but I honestly do feel like it was different enough. I think there was more traditional things in there in a sense than Skyfall had, especially than the first two had. Like that's just how. I mean, I understand what you're saying. Like he's growing and growing, but he didn't grow very well. In these movies, they did. I'm just saying they didn't do it well. But it's also Daniel Craig, and again, like he's not gonna do it well. Daniel Craig should be in a Jason Bourne style movie. He should be a fucking rougher than shit, drunk ass spy or something.
He's a pretty good fucking sophisticated spy too.
I think he'd be a great Bond villain.
He
Could be a better Bond villain
He would
than
be.
Bond. I don't think he's that sophisticated.
Speaking of Bond villains, what about Batista? in
I
Spectre?
loved
I like Batista.
I loved Batista in
Yep.
Spectre.
I
It's
like
my
him.
favorite introduction of
That's
a
ano-
henchman, I think.
Yep.
Well, yeah, me too. And that's another one of those things I loved about Spectre in that over the topness. There wasn't too over the top, but that cat and mouse that they played all movie
Yeah.
was awesome, and you could tell both of them were loving it.
Oh, yeah.
and that was James Bond. That was the thrill of the thrill of the mission, and then Mr. Big was just super badass. So he just thought everything was hilarious. He just loved it. That's what I thought was so great about it. I will talk up Spectre. I will give him.
Yeah.
I will give him one movie. I still am leery of the new one, but whatever that may be. But I mean, I will give him Spectre. I enjoyed Spectre.
Yeah. That's Spectre's my second favorite of his.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, me too.
But Casino Royale is just I mean, it's a real spy movie. He was a real spy. He didn't go into, I don't know. I just like the reality of it, I guess.
Yeah. Do we already talk? We went pretty much already talked Bond girls. Your favorite Bond girl?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about favorite villains? You got Mads Mikkelsen.
I got Lashif.
Lashif's on my list too. But
He's not on mine.
I do have Max Zorin in there.
Me too.
Just because he was pretty fucking cool. Like,
Well,
he was just off
sure.
the, and I love the what was it, a blimp or a hot air balloon? I think it was
hot
a
air
blimp.
balloon. I think no,
It's a Zeppelin.
Zeppelin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Zeppelin.
yeah,
It was.
a
Yeah,
blimp.
it was.
Yeah, I love that shit. I think that's hilarious.
Where
awesome.
where he cackles before he dies.
Yeah.
He's like,
yeah.
It's awesome.
He's dude. Walken is a good bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Walken is pretty good at it. I liked.
He reminded me a lot of. Oh shit, what was his name in Batman Returns?
Max Shrek.
Yes.
Yeah, Max Shrek.
Yes.
Yeah.
He reminded
He was
me
similar.
a lot.
Back in the yeah. I liked Christopher Lee as a bad guy.
Yeah.
I liked Robert Shaw as a bad guy in From Russia with Love, which I guess he was. You could kind of put him as the henchman and the I don't know.
Yeah.
I think Sean Bean as 006 is probably my favorite.
Yeah,
but Goldeneye is my favorite. Movie.
He was a good one. And I really do like Sean Bean. I think he's a great actor.
Yeah. Best henchman.
Man, I didn't write that down. I'll have to think.
I would just say like Jaws or something like that. Jaws.
Probably.
Jaws. Knick-Knack's cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
because I
don't know,
Man
dude.
Gun.
You know, those two were really cool.
Those are those campy
But
cool.
Batista,
Batista was a cool.
Fucking cool henchman, dude.
Zanyanatop was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
For she was a Bond girl.
Yeah.
She was one of my favorite. Famke Jensen's one of my favorite Bond girls, even though she was a bad guy Bond girl. If you call it, I guess you can count it.
Hey, we can count whatever you want.
That's right. Well, it's our show.
Yeah.
Why the fuck not?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to mention real quick too, Kim Basinger. That is a Bond girl. And it was Never Say Never Again. I know it wasn't officially part of the canon or whatever you want to call it, but it was basically Thunderball, but I love Never Say Never Again. I thought that was awesome. Even though he was a little bit seasoned. Connery was a little seasoned coming back in that. It was still huge. I need to look up the numbers. I never looked at the numbers, and I meant to, but I wanted to see how he compared to Moore that year.
I don't know.
It wasn't very good reviews, I know, on the movies part.
Yeah, Moore beat him.
Yeah. Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Which doesn't surprise me too much because it was, I don't know.
They had the machine behind them.
Right. It's just one of those things that happened.
Well, I
it
think
it went head to head
it
with
was a
Octopus.
separate studio and everything.
Well, I think my mom told me about that.
Like it wasn't even able to put under the 007 anything. I don't think was. I think it was.
No, it was over rights being held by the guy who wrote Thunderball.
Yeah,
Kevin McQuarrie, I think was his name.
Yeah, something like that.
But he actually had the rights to the script, so they're like, "Hey, let's do this."
Did you like Donald Pleasance as Blofeld the most? I probably did.
I liked him.
I probably did. Just Tony Svallis was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
as Blofeld.
Charles Gray, I didn't care for as much, and I hated how they tried to explain that away. It's like a surgery thing, or something.
Yeah.
And diamonds are forever, but we've said our piece about that one.
Yeah, I didn't really like that. But
Stupid.
I mean, Donald Pleasance's role was not like amazing.
No,
it was just he was kind of because he was pretty weird. Like he was a weird, like not a tough cat in that movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was running away.
Yeah, but that's Dr. Evil too. You know what I mean? That was what he was based off. So I can, but it's still so iconic because it's Pleasance, and two, the look. It's just such an iconic thing.
Yeah.
Christoph Waltz, I thought was fine as Blofeld. I think.
I did too.
A lot of people didn't like him. I loved it. I like weird shit. Man.
I do like him. I like him in general.
Yeah, I do too.
I think it's just because he's weird.
I know he's just a weird cat, man.
He's a unique.
Who's that? What's the dude's name from Skyfall? He was not a bad guy.
Javier Bardem.
Yeah, he wasn't a bad guy. He was a piece of shit who killed that girl, dude. That was pretty. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of an over the top.
He was all right. I love No Country for Old Men. I was expecting more out of him, I guess.
I'm just not a big
fan.
I'm not a big fan.
Be fair.
He was another one. He kind of followed in Lashif's shoes, where you kind of understood where he came from.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. Well,
fuck, I'd go crazy too.
Well, right.
Look
Well,
at his face.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's the kind of actor who's built for these crazy ass terrorist roles, or Bond villain roles, and
he's
not
he's a good actor, but he's weird.
I think Christoph Waltz has a better, more round.
I think so too. Well, Christoph Waltz is weird, but he's normal weird.
He's not. Yeah, he's not the other one weird.
Javier Bardem, though, is kind of like Chris Pratt, where we were talking a couple podcasts ago. He's on the verge of being overused.
Yeah.
When you're doing a Pirates movie, that's
that's
when you know.
Well,
it was better than the last one.
He was in that Mother movie too. I didn't watch it because people told me not to because it's too weird. It's like him and he's Jennifer Lawrence's husband or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like what the fuck happened there? I don't know. Whatever.
I don't know. I also got to point out too, just real quick off the subject again, back on Bond girls, that the chick that played Natalia was pretty hot too.
Yeah,
she's up there.
Well, I think we can all agree that most Bond girls, like I would say 99.8% of Bond girls are smoking hot. Oh, they're
smoking hot, yeah, for sure. But you just got your favorites. One of those things.
Yeah.
I don't know what else is. I think you asked the question earlier. Theme.
What's your favorite music? Yeah. Your favorite song? From the because that's kind of a big deal.
I go with. I'm not a new wave guy, but I like the new wave. I like A View to a Kill and Living Daylights. I like them both.
Yeah. And
man, I'm kind of up there with you because I know what your answer is.
Oh yeah,
it's hard not to like that song. Plus, I like Guns N' Roses version a lot better. But I do. Live and Let Die was awesome, but I know that's yours. I don't know. I like Skyfall.
Really? I think the last two have been pretty.
Yeah,
good.
I'm not a big fan of Adele as a whole, but I think that's a very good theme, and I think that's another reason why. Like that's kind of what come together with Skyfall so well. You had a lot of them damn pandering, homage shit. Then you had, the 50th anniversary. Then you had Adele, who was hot, just come out. She was huge, and then she had a badass theme for this. It just all packaged really well together, and I think that's why people really give it more credit than it
the last
probably deserves. But
Sam
Smith, I think. I can't remember the name of the song. It was okay. Yeah. It was okay. Spectre. It wasn't a weak theme. I thought
I thought with the visuals it was pretty cool.
The visuals was cool, yeah. But I thought Skyfall was good, and I like Goldeneye. But I'm like I said, man, I like everything Goldeneye. Tina Turner. I'm not a big Tina Turner fan, but I like the song.
Like this podcast, simply the best.
Simply the best.
Yeah. Unbeatable.
Unbeatable. Okay.
How much time we got?
We got very little time. We got a few minutes. So.
Well, I just wanted to ask, what's your favorite movies that were inspired by the James Bond franchise?
Oh gosh,
because there's quite a few.
Shit. There is,
and Austin Powers. Really?
No,
okay,
seriously. Parodies could be included.
Austin Powers is a comedy, a goofy ass comedy, but it's one of my favorite spoof type
dude, Austin Powers, all three of them are amazing.
And you know what?
I want to do a podcast on them.
And we should. We really should. Because Michael Myers he's a bigger fan of James Bond than the three of us. He's a big enough fan that he based a fucking movie character off of him.
Yeah, whole movie characters. I love Austin Powers. I like Spy Hard. Leslie Nielsen.
I love
that one.
Which I will admit that if it has Leslie Nielsen in it, I love it already.
And the chick from License to Kill was in that too. The Princess Katana, she was in that too.
Even if it's bad. And he has done some
Spy
bad
Hard
ones.
wasn't that bad.
No. Spy Hard. I love Spy Hard.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
He's done some bad ones.
Yeah, he has.
But I still love him anyway. So I got to say, I'm...
Like where they're beating up Macaulay Culkin. This is for my girl, too. I wasn't even in my girl, too.
Yeah. That wasn't even Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kingsman is one of my new favorite spy movies. And it's,
Kingsman?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, so I was going to say that too.
It's
Kingsman.
super way over the top.
No, I love that.
But I do love it. And I think, a lot of people don't like how dirty it is because it's very dirty. It's very nasty.
Yeah.
but I actually like it. I don't think it would work near as well if it wasn't so dirty.
I know you just saw it. What do you think of Sean Connery leaving Bond to go do films like Zardoz?
Yeah. Well, I can't say he made a bad decision, you know.
That's immortalized forever in one of the worst
yeah,
movies
exactly,
of all time.
Exactly. You know, it's
I mean, let me just tell you, he didn't go on to do amazing stuff afterwards, other than like The Rock and
Highlander.
Much later.
God damn, boy.
Well,
Throw
okay.
some respect.
Okay, hold on a second. Hold on.
Throw some respect on his name.
Indiana Jones, Highlander, The Rock.
I like Outland. Nobody's seen it, I guess.
Entrapment, bitch.
Okay.
Entrapment was a good movie. Plus, it had Catherine Zeta-Jones all up, had her ass up in there like that. Yeah.
High angle.
Like a cat with her butt in the air.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Sean Connery, by God, we might not have got that.
So a half a dozen.
Yeah.
Half a dozen.
Yeah, probably.
There may be
Entrapment was a
more.
good
I don't know.
Entrapment was a good movie.
I don't. You know what? I own Entrapment, and I think I've only seen it one time.
Really? It's all right. I didn't think it was that bad.
I mean, it stayed paused for a long time.
But to be fair, most Bonds didn't go on to do anything else either.
No,
no. Like Pierce Brosnan's got the best, and Craig maybe he's got some of the better. I think Pierce Brosnan's probably got better.
Craig
roles.
had a bunch before.
Craig had a few before.
Yeah.
I liked him in Logan Lucky.
See, I really only like. I'll give you Thomas Crown Affair is one of the best thief movies.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of the best thief movies.
I loved it.
But I don't care for him in action movies.
Really?
No. Yeah, I just don't believe it.
You need to watch The Foreigner.
Which
is more of a drama, suspense.
I want to watch The Foreigner because I do love Jackie Chan.
He's not high action,
I just don't believe Brosnan is a tough guy. I just don't.
Oh, dude, I don't know.
He looks like he's got just a jaw made of glass.
What do you mean he's old?
Yeah, but when he was young, he looked like he had a jaw full of glass.
I don't know about that. I think
he's your atypical British guy.
I think he's Irish.
He looks. I know. Same thing.
Well, I mean, yeah, kind of.
I mean, really. They are. They're owned by the British. And they keep fucking voting to stay British.
So
I is Odd Job. I forgot to mention.
In that case, because Timothy Dalton as well, does that make Daniel Craig the first British Bond? I think it does.
Oh my God, did it?
Maybe.
Actually, I think I may have heard that before.
I think so. Well, Connery's Scottish.
It was.
Are you sure it was?
I think.
Are you sure? He's English, like Irish. Well, I think.
Oh no, he's British. Because they made a deal.
Sure Moore wasn't? Is he Scottish?
Oh no, Roger Moore was. Roger Moore was.
Oh, okay. Well, see, because they made a big deal about that at the Olympics. You remember that when him and the Queen flew in on the helicopter?
Yeah.
And she jumped down.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, they did the parachute.
They made a big. She made a statement about finally getting a British Bond. Like maybe she said British Bond back. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's probably just after a couple Bonds. Or something, but I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so to close it out, because I think we've covered everything we can cover, at least without either killing each other or being here all day. What do you got? What do you got for give me at least a top 3 or 5 Bond movies?
Oh my God, 3 or 5?
Give me 3 or 5. I know you've got your list made up already. So
well, you're gonna like one of them. I'll give you 3. Number 1, Casino Royale.
Okay.
Number 2, Goldeneye.
Okay.
Number 3, Spectre.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay.
I know, and it's all new. I know. It's.
Yeah,
I mean, there's probably gonna be a lot of people listening that are gonna be upset about.
Hey,
that,
I got you. The Spectre was 6 on mine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
I just enjoy realistic stuff.
Well, better. I mean, like I said, I'll give Spectre enough credit because even though it's right ahead of Dr. No and Thunderball and stuff like that, I think it is a good movie. You can get 4 and 5. Can you get 4 and 5 in?
Oh, I don't know about that. That's gonna be hard. Number 4 would have to be On Her Majesty's Secret Service, just because it was so different for the time. It was way ahead of its time.
Yeah.
And then From Russia with Love, probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Just because I really like that story.
Yeah. Ours is very close. What's yours?
From Russia with Love, number 1. Casino Royale at 2. The Man with the Golden Gun at number 3.
Really?
It's the one I've watched probably the most.
Yeah,
so I can't discount that.
Well, I mean, if it's your favorite or if you watch it a lot, then you enjoy it.
The Spy Who Loved Me at 4, GoldenEye at 5, and I gotta throw Love In for the Living Daylights at 6. That's the other one I've probably watched more than
a
any
lot.
other.
Yeah. GoldenEye is definitely number 1 for me. I've said it like 100 times on this podcast because it's just fucking awesome. It's like I said, it's that healthy dose of both sides, and I just, man, it's amazing. Plus, I mean, it was just, I don't know, like everything, the fucking soundtrack, the music in it was awesome. The actors were awesome. I thought the bad guys and the supporting characters were awesome. Video game was fucking awesome, and that was my childhood too. Like I said, a lot of this is emotion, a lot of this is opinion, but that for me, that's what it is. From Russia with Love's definitely number 2. Honor Majesty's Secret Service is 3. Goldfinger is 4, and Tomorrow Never Dies is 5. And that might be the weird one, the 5, Tomorrow Never Dies.
Yeah,
but because I got Spectre at 6.
Yeah.
And Spectre, I think, was obviously higher budget, better shot film than Tomorrow Never Dies, but I like more scenes. I don't know. I like Tomorrow Never Dies better.
Before we close this out, you guys have talked about your favorite Bonds. I don't think I can answer that question.
Really? I can rank them for you right now.
I mean, I think they're all kind of lumped in there together because I was sitting here trying to think, man, Connery, but Connery would be kind of a cop-out answer, and I like Moore, and I like Craig. And for, I like Brosnan
Connery
for
is
the,
a cop-out
for the
answer, I
bad
guess,
movies that he got. I can't really pick a favorite Bond.
I can see that. Like, it's a hard thing because I do like all of them. It's Bond.
Yeah.
It's James
Well,
Bond.
they all have their strong
I like
points.
all. I mean, I don't like Craig, but you know what I mean. Like
Well, you didn't like him before they even started making them.
right. I didn't. I'm not a Craig fan.
You hated that they picked a blonde guy.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Oh yeah, I hated they picked a blonde guy.
Like,
But
my God, you can't do that. You can't have a blonde.
Fuck no. Well, I didn't like Roger. I liked Roger Moore, but he wasn't dark headed.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, but it wasn't just about him being blonde, but that was a lot of it. But I'm just not a big Daniel Craig fan. Like I said, the most recent movie I've liked him in, other than Spectre, was Logan Lucky.
Yeah.
Just because it was something different. I don't know. I can rank him. I think Roger Moore. I think Roger Moore probably hits the bottom of the barrel, and only because he is just almost, while he's good in the first couple, he's almost too much.
Oh yeah,
he's just too. Well, he's just too.
Makes up for the fact he's not a tough guy.
He's just so feminine, like, and that's. I mean, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't think he sells the part. Like you have a problem with Brosnan selling that part. I think Roger Moore is the worst.
Oh yeah.
I think Daniel Craig is the next worst, if you could call it that. But because I'm just not a Craig fan, and he's oversells. The movies just oversell. He's this hardened guy. You know what I mean? It's just not my kind of. I put Timothy Dalton above him.
Really?
Yeah, I liked him because like you were saying, I think he still had it, but I think he was. I don't know. I just like Timothy Dalton better. He's kind of like a slightly better Daniel Craig with dark hair.
Yeah.
I love George Lazenby. He's the next. And even after one movie, just because he did such a great job.
Yeah.
And then Connery. It's probably Connery and Brosnan, only because of my bias. Those are so neck and neck, 1 and 2 for me, that it's just hard to. I know that's kind of a cop out on the Connery thing, but I mean, at the same time, it's really not. I mean,
He did a great job.
Like I said at the beginning, man, this role was made for him. It was catered to him, obviously, but he sold it and did it so well that it wasn't just about him being the first one. It was about him. I mean, he's truly come in. He set the bar. He set the bar. And I think the only thing that, for me, as far as look and movies and everything else, I think Pierce is the only one that's touched that and touched both sides. So that's just my opinion on that. Can you rank yours?
Well, it'd probably be close to the complete opposite of what you just said. No, I would have Craig as number 1, and oh boy, it's so jumbled. It's hard.
It's hard for
man.
for
and I would probably have to have Moore as last, and that's like,
well, it
and I really like Moore's movies, because for their time, that is what movies had to be. They had to be campy. They couldn't have too much violence. They couldn't have too much this or that.
Well, they only had so much of a budget. They only had so much effects.
They had to be campy. They had to be. And so, I mean,
you got to think. Up until what year? Up until what year did they? I mean, they speed up the film footage for high chase scenes. You know what I mean? They visibly look sped up.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it looks like you trying to figure out where the remote is because somebody's sitting on it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're coming from that time, so
I don't know. I mean, I'd probably say Craig, then Connery. Oh boy, man, I want to say Lazenby third, just because I really like that fucking movie.
I mean, it's a great movie.
But Dalton was pretty good too, though.
I think Goldeneye is too good, and Pierce does such a good job that it's
he had my very least favorite. He had my most hated Bond movie. Goldeneye can make up for it to a point. To a point.
Okay, I mean, like on George Lazenby's side, that one movie was so incredible. If Brosnan only did the one.
If he did just Goldeneye, he would be far, far up on the list for me.
You know what I'm saying?
But you know what? He didn't. He stuck around and he did 3 shitty movies.
I don't count Lazenby.
Oh, he would have done a 5th, but they pushed him out.
I know.
Which it wasn't even his fault to begin with.
We didn't get a chance to see what Lazenby can really do.
No,
it's kind of like these people that love Nirvana. It's like,
exactly.
God,
exactly.
Well, they never got a chance to do too much, so how can you say that? But anyway.
Oh my God.
We might still have Nirvana and not Foo Fighters. Come on, man. Okay. Not to get too far off on a tangent here, but seriously.
We got to wrap it up after this.
Okay, seriously. Go to a store that sells CDs if you can still find them. Okay, go to iTunes.
Yeah, that's probably
type in Nirvana's greatest hits and tell me how many search results you have. Then type in Foo Fighters greatest hits. Right. See how many search results you have. Yeah. Get the fuck out of here.
It's like saying Stevie Ray Vaughan and stuff like that. Who died way too early and what could have been and
except Stevie Ray Vaughan is
a legend.
He was an utter and complete legend by the time he had died.
Yeah, exactly. He was.
There's people still alive today that are considered legends that bow down to him.
I know enough looking back about Nirvana that I could tell that they are overrated, far overrated. They would have been overrated at that time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's trends are great. That's what makes a lot of people.
Yeah, they rode the trend.
They rode the trend. That's what makes bands. That same thing with a lot of one-hit wonders and a lot of other.
But that was my point. That was my point. I like On Her Majesty's Secret Service, but we never got to see what he could have been. So he very well could have sucked.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Nirvana never really got the chance to be out of style.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he could have taken a turn. Well, and that's the thing too. If you match every Bond with their best performance and their best film, how would you rank them? And that's how usually I rank them. And even then, it's hard to. It's probably more close to the answer of Andrews. It's fucking hard to rank them.
Yeah.
But I would probably still rank them. Just about the same.
Really?
I would probably rank them the same.
Yeah, I've got like 2 from everybody in my top 10.
You know what I mean? I've probably. Well, I don't have Dalton's, but I do like Dalton as a Bond.
Well, I don't have Dalton's, but I have the one I love so much. It's almost
that's
I would say it would flip for me at that point. You know what I mean? I think Dalton and Roger Moore would flip if you talked about like the best outing they had. I mean,
and that's like my mom would and it's completely different. My mom would tell you that Roger Moore was the best. My dad would say that Dalton was probably his favorite.
Yeah.
Up until now, I know my dad really loves Craig.
Yeah.
Just because he looks like an actual tough guy.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that sells people. That sells.
well,
people.
yeah, you have
credibility.
You have an actual tough looking guy doing tough guy shit
Yeah.
instead of a cream puff.
Yeah. Well, I think
doing
that,
tough guy
and
shit.
like I said, I think personally, I think that's the charm of James Bond. I think that's the charm of these movies, and I think that the charm of it, puts it in that category where it shouldn't be so real that, you know, it should be like what we want to be. You know, that old Hollywood thing where, you know, you want to be able to do some wild and crazy over the top shit in a Hollywood movie. I think, you know, I know people want real now, but I think that if you put it too much real, you know what I mean? Like, I think that was what's so special about some of these movies, even the older ones that were more campy. I think that you take away the magic and that charm when, you know, you've got this unkillable, super suave, never can miss kind of superhero, kind of, you know, spy.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Raylan Givens in Justified. It over glorifies the role because being a spy is not that exciting. It's not that fucking. It's not that great. It would be terrible.
Yeah. A lot of sitting and waiting.
You know, like, I understand people would like that, but like, I don't want to be a spy because of Daniel Craig's Bond, because of Ian Fleming's Bond. I want to be a spy because of Sean Connery, because of Pierce Brosnan. Like, that's, you know what I mean? That's the feeling you get when you watch a movie and you disconnect from the real world. That's just how I feel about it.
What all I was saying is that Sean Connery.
I totally agree.
Sean Connery
totally
looked like he could whoop somebody's ass.
Kind of, yeah. Well, he's big. He's a tall guy.
Because he does. He did whoop people's asses.
Yeah.
I mean, there's stories of him whooping people's asses
on
set.
It also doesn't help. I mean, he was also fucking fighting women too.
Yeah.
So it was.
Now, Roger Moore, not so much.
No,
he does not look like he could whoop your ass.
No. He kind of falls in line with the, you know, slightly more over the top than like the Brosnans, who,
especially later on where he was
especially
nearing 60.
Yeah, exactly. That's a lot of it too. They were trying to keep him in the role and cater to his age.
There's about 3 of these Bonds. I would fist fight them right now.
Well, okay, yeah, you boop them on the head.
I would boop them right on the fucking head.
Yeah.
Especially since they're British.
Well,
and older.
And old.
Well,
I guarantee a lot of it.
in their prime. I'm not in their prime. I'm not going to boop an old man on the head unless he's rude. Then I'll boop him.
Yeah, unless he's British.
Well, you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying. I don't know. I think, like I said,
I'll fight me.
For me, I love realism in movies like Wind River, and I love, but in these movies, I have a specific desire, and that's just, like I said, this is my opinion, and I'll defend it to the fucking day I die. For these movies, I want a certain way, and that's just the way it is. I mean, I
agree.
You know what I mean? So
just the opposite.
Just the opposite. Exactly. I want the magic to be there. I want a healthy dose of both, and that's where we're at.
I think I think we're getting enough. We're getting enough crazy shit from other movies. I don't know. I think I just really like.
I think we're getting enough crazy and enough seriousness.
I really like a lot of. I really like Ian Fleming's James Bond.
Yeah,
and that's just.
Yeah,
you know,
that's just a position you've grown to love over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm seriously. If you read, which I know you said you've read one. If you read the right ones, he was a good writer.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just, you know.
I said I don't think it would be as good or sell as many tickets if you put, you know, paper to movie.
Well, maybe not.
You know, I just don't know unless that's what.
Maybe not, but they're still making them, and they're still making millions and millions.
You know, it's already got that stigma that, you know, this needs to be James Bond, not some badass, you know, greedy spy.
To a certain crowd,
you know what I mean?
You and the 15 other people.
That's a little bit nasty.
There, you got to admit, there's far less people that.
Are you sure about that?
Oh yes.
You sure?
Oh yes.
See, I think that's subjective too. I think that's just a feeling. I think there's a healthy dose of both.
I think and that's just from people I talk to.
Right.
The people that I talk to like Craig's movies.
Well, the people you talk to probably, assuming, do not watch a lot of James Bond. And didn't watch a lot of James Bond beforehand.
I think there's quite a few out there that probably don't like Daniel Craig too.
Well, yeah. There's
like I said, I think there's a healthy divide.
There is a lot of them.
I think there's a healthy divide there.
There is a lot of them.
I think so. Just
But
like with anything.
most people that I know that would talk to me about James Bond, that have talked to me about James Bond, have watched every single James Bond.
Well, the reason why I say that is because you've got so many people who love Skyfall and hated Spectre. And to me, that just
Really?
absolutely. Oh,
See,
I know.
I don't.
That's
get
what I'm saying.
that.
Like, I know. That's what I'm saying. I don't.
get that.
That's why I can't trust any of it. I can't trust anybody but myself.
Yeah, go.
Well, I mean, you
go
got
by your gut.
you gotta
Just
look
go
at
by-
all.
I mean, it's everybody's opinion anyway.
You got to look at all. The way I'm looking at this is the same way I'm looking at Star Wars. You got a lot of old fans that hate the new Star Wars for no fucking reason.
Mm-hmm.
Things have to change when something is that old. When something is that old, it has to change. You can't live your life doing the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to change.
But it still needs to feel like Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
It still needs to feel like
Which
Star Wars.
and Last Jedi did, and if anybody says that, they're ridiculous. And
I say, if anyone says that Daniel Craig doesn't feel like James Bond, you're being ridiculous.
see, and I disagree.
He is fucking James Bond.
No, I see.
He has done 4 James Bond movies. He is James Bond.
Well, yeah. Anybody who's acting James Bond is James Bond. I think what I'm saying is until Spectre, he did not feel like straight up James Bond. Maybe part of Skyfall.
He is James Bond. He is.
Well, yeah, of course he is James Bond. He's playing the role.
Yeah.
He's playing the role of James Bond. Just like Luke is Luke, whether Mark Hamill likes it or not.
You know what I'm saying? Though?
No, I know
mean,
exactly what you're saying.
Just because he doesn't feel like your favorite version of James Bond doesn't mean that he doesn't feel like it to someone else.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, my mom doesn't like Daniel Craig's James Bond because he's not Roger Moore.
Exactly.
I don't care.
I don't either.
He is James Bond.
I don't either.
Just like Donald Trump is your president.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
He's not my president.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, well, that's the thing. That's not like that's a basis of reality that I've never been outside of. Like, you know what I mean? Like, of course he's James Bond. He's just not he
doesn't feel like your favorite version of James.
No, he needs to be a better James
It's just
Bond.
like Batman. There's, you know, I know you hate Christopher Nolan's Batman.
Mm-hmm.
But Christopher Nolan's Batman is a good Batman. He's not my favorite Batman by no means.
I don't think he's Batman at all. Batman Begins, Batman's Batman.
But you're wrong.
But am I?
Christopher Nolan's Batman is Batman. He's just a different version of Batman than what you want.
I mean that's true, I guess.
Batman Beyond is Batman.
Yeah.
Just not what I want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Like, there's lots of shit that I don't like.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that they're not
Sure.
that.
Sure. I won't dispute that. I mean, you can't really dispute that. We got opinion. We all have opinions of things, for sure.
I don't know.
What I'm saying is it's just roles are reversed. You like it, I don't. That's it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't what I'm trying to say is I don't understand what you mean by when you say he doesn't feel like James Bond.
In a traditional sense.
In a traditional sense.
What he
I've explained it. In a traditional sense, he's not James Bond to me.
To you.
To me, exactly. That's
Yeah.
But that's what it's always been about. My opinion. That's not the only opinion out there. It's just my opinion. I'm going to argue it till the day I die.
Okay. I still don't understand it.
What do you mean?
I just don't understand how he doesn't feel like James Bond.
There may be a podcast next week, and there may not. I'm not sure where this is going.
I don't get it.
Well, here's the thing. In a literal sense, in a technical sense, Daniel Craig is James Bond. He is contracted as James Bond. Daniel Craig is a version of Bond.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig is more close to some of the books, right? The books.
Yes.
He's James Bond.
Yeah.
I never disputed that. The only thing is all I said was he is not the James Bond I want. That's it.
Oh.
I never said he wasn't James Bond. I just said he's not my
no,
James.
you said that he doesn't feel like James Bond.
Exactly. He doesn't feel like James Bond to me. Because he doesn't feel like the version of Bond that I want. That's pretty clear. I mean, that's not I'm not saying he's not James Bond in a sense, because of course he's James Bond. He's like you said with Batman, he is a version of James Bond.
Yeah.
But he does not feel like the James Bond that I want, or the James Bond we've ever had, or what we could have.
Yeah.
And I think we could
Dalton
have both.
Got close. I think Dalton got close.
I think Dalton got very close, and I think he's underrated.
Yeah.
For that, obviously I still put him at the bottom, towards the bottom.
Yeah.
I put him higher than Moore, and Craig actually. Like I said, I think he's very good. I think Dalton's very underrated.
Yeah.
But
I think he was. I think he gets too much shit. I think Dalton gets too much shit.
Yeah,
I think he does.
I really do wish, maybe not at the expense of Pierce, but I do wish he would have got a couple more movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they could have definitely done more.
I do think that like Craig, I think he's overrated, but I don't think like with Spectre, obviously he can pull something out of his ass. I think Dalton is underrated. I think Pierce, in my opinion, because I'm a Pierce fan, I think he's shit on too much. I think he's
by me.
Well, not just you, but a lot of people do.
Really?
That. Yeah. Oh yeah. A lot of people do that.
I know a lot of people that like Pierce.
Oh yeah, I do too. Like I said, it's just like everything else. There's a healthy dose.
Yeah.
He's not my favorite, but it's not any fault of his.
Well,
no,
right.
yeah,
right.
No, yeah,
right. That's what I'm saying. Well, that's how it is. If you
now, some of it is. A lot of it's in my mind with Brosnan, because I did like him in Goldeneye, and I thought he could have done something to look a little tougher. But still, besides that, Goldeneye was one of the closest to being perfect Bonds. But then the rest of them were all on whoever was making the movie.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you got to think they ran out of source material at that point too, so they're running these new scripts, and whoever thought that whoever took over and wanted to go this over the top route instead of keeping a little bit more grounded.
Yeah.
That's their problem, not Brosnan's. And you could say that for a lot of the Bonds.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. They're all kind of a product of their time, both good and bad. You can hate Tomorrow Never Dies, but you have the internet and information age, that was coming up. World Was Not Enough is kind of its own thing. Die Another Day was just kind of silly, but like with Tomorrow Never Dies, I can make the case. Well, you've got, and really you can do that with any movie. That they usually use some kind of new technological.
Well, I don't think the plot of Tomorrow Never Dies wasn't the biggest problem for me. It was the actors that were in it.
This Elliot Carver,
I didn't like him, and I didn't like Terry Hatcher.
Yeah, well, he wasn't over the top psycho, and he wasn't big and menacing. He was just a normal fucking crazy mogul.
Yeah.
So that was, which is not the worst thing.
And I didn't like the way he looked either. Like
spike, the gray hair and the goofy shirt and the glasses. Yeah.
I didn't like the way he looked all that much either, but I liked him better than his henchman. That
blonde
hair.
Oh, Stamper, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, it was awful.
I kind of like Stamper just in a mean, bad Russian kind of way. But
Russian.
But I mean, he kind of reminded me of a steroided up Billy Idol.
That's what I.
You know what I mean? He's like Billy Idol on steroids. But when he stabbed him in the chest or whatever, and he just kind of looked at him, and I thought that was cool. I did. I thought that was kind of cool. So, like I said, there's a lot of good parts to that movie. Anyway, we probably better wrap it up. We've pissed and moaned and talked and stuff too long, I think. It's a very sensitive subject for me. We're just not going to agree, and that's okay. Whatever.
I don't think.
But I wouldn't want any other way though. I want people to be.
I don't think
honest.
anybody's ever going to fully agree on Bond. There's too many movies.
No.
It's been going for way too long to not have everyone thinking different views on it.
Right. Right.
It's just too old.
Yeah, it really is.
There's no way that it'd be like
when it covers that many generations. It's not like a smaller franchise that only lasted a few years, like The Matrix or something. Or the Fast and Furious movies, even.
Yeah.
Where they've been in the last decade, and everybody who's seen the first one's seen this one. This one here is a lot different, and there's a lot of crazy in-betweens that I'd say most people argue that never even fucking seen the shit.
Yeah.
Most of them haven't seen any of it. Just like I can't mouth the books because I haven't read them. But at the same time,
The books are pretty good.
I bet
There
they
was
are.
one. I don't remember which one it was.
I've got You Only Live Twice, and I didn't care for it.
I was about
Yeah.
to. But there was one of them I read that was pretty weak, but the other two were
That's a
really
lot.
good.
You have to
Really
try and
good.
translate that on movies and make it far more interesting than the book did, and that's not easy to do now.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it would have been like then with little budget, and little effects. So and then plus you're selling sex, right? So you're selling Bond girls and you're selling a good looking Bond.
Yeah.
That's a lot of it. That's all the way up to the end of the to early 2000s. You were doing that. It was just kind of the mainstay. It's just that was what was different about Bond. That's why it's still, even though they're more real, that's still that we still have to know who the Bond girl is. That's still what they make a big deal out of that. So that's just one thing about Bond. It'll always be Bond. No one gives a shit about who the Jason Bourne girls. There's no such thing as that. So
No.
that's why I think you should keep it in its own little world. Like it's a glorification kind of thing. That's what's special about it to me. But anyway, it's probably time to wrap this up. We went really long on this one, but we probably needed to because it was such a big subject.
Have to.
So any final thoughts? We probably said what we need to say.
Yeah.
All right. Well, to any of those out there listening still after a couple hours, then
Yeah, come at me, old timer.
yeah, come at me.
Or British people.
Yeah, and British people.
He's like 5 months older than me, but I'm still a little bit taller than him. I could boot him on the head.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see y'all later.
See ya.
See ya.